Welcome to Cornerstone Today. This is a daily moment in the Word designed to help you start your day grounded, steady, and focused on what matters most. Each weekday morning we'll open Scripture together, seeking clarity, strength, and hope for the day ahead. This is about learning to walk with Jesus in real life, right where you are. Let's begin today in the Word. Well, good morning and welcome to Cornerstone Today. It is Matthew Allen. I am so excited to be here with you on this Thursday morning. It is a glorious morning outside here at Cornerstone, and just thank you for being a part of this broadcast this morning. We're going to be in Philippians chapter 2, looking at verses 12 and 13 today as we talk about working out what God is working in. Paul in this text has just pointed us to humility and obedience, looking at the example of Jesus. And now he is going to turn the spotlight gently but firmly toward our response to that. And so he writes in verse 12, "Therefore, my dear friends, just as you have always obeyed, so now, not only in my presence, but even more in my absence, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling." That phrase there, work out your own salvation, can sound unsettling if we hear it wrong. Paul is not saying work for your salvation. He is saying work out what God has already worked in. We need to understand that salvation is not something that we own. It is something that we live out. And the picture that Paul paints for us here requires effort and seriousness and intentionality. We need to know that our faith is not casual. Obedience does matter. And how we live reflects what we believe. And then Paul goes on into the next verse, and he, I think, wants to clear up any misunderstanding. He clarifies his statement in verse 12, saying in verse 13, "For it is God who is working in you both to will and to work according to his good purpose." That's the balance. We are called to obey, but we are never left to obey alone. And we're called to act. But God supplies both the desire and the strength. And so what Paul does here is he holds responsibility and grace together. As you go through the Bible, you see this taught consistently. Jesus said in John 15:5, "Apart from me, you can do nothing." And yet it is Jesus who also said, "If you love me, you will keep my commands." And so God does not obey for us, but he does empower our obedience. And that phrase, fear and trembling, back in verse 12, that simply does not mean terror. It means reverence. It means that you and I take God seriously because he is at work in us. I think anxiety can creep in when we feel that everything depends on us. And passivity also becomes a danger when we assume nothing is required of us. And Paul rejects both extremes here in this text. Faithful living is neither frantic striving nor spiritual laziness. It is responsive obedience grounded in trust. Paul wants us to live attentively, humbly, and dependently, knowing that every step forward is supported by the grace of God. And so here's our practical application for this new day. Ask God to recognize where he is already at work in your life, shaping your desires, convicting your heart, and invite obedience. And then take one intentional step of faith, trusting that he is going to supply the strength as you move. Because your obedience is not about proving yourself to God. It is about responding to a God who is already at work within you. And when you work out what God is working in, your faith, it becomes steady and grounded and full of hope. We'll see you again tomorrow. Thanks for spending these moments in the Word today. As you go, remember this: faithfulness is built one ordinary day at a time. Keep walking with Jesus. Keep listening. Keep trusting. God is at work all the time. Join us again every weekday morning for another moment of encouragement and truth here on Cornerstone Today.